The first light of dawn spilled over the city, painting the streets in muted gold and lavender. The city breathed in rhythm with its inhabitants, some emerging from long nights of struggle, others preparing for the challenges of a new day. For those whose lives had been quietly unraveling, this morning held fragile possibility. Elena, threads of continuity. Elena stood at her apartment window, holding a freshly finished scarf. The yarn felt warm in her hands, a tangible testament to weeks of dedication. Life was still messy, still unpredictable, but her daily actions, knitting, running, and engaging with her creative peers had created a scaffold for her well-being. She smiled, thinking about her exhibition, the small but meaningful online orders, and the new friends she had made. The city hummed below, alive with stories, and Elena felt herself part of that vibrancy, no longer isolated but intricately woven into the human tapestry around her. For Elena, peace was not a distant horizon, it was stitched into her routines, her small victories, and her commitment to keep moving forward. She tied the scarf around her neck, stepped outside, and walked toward the nearby park, feeling the rhythm of life beneath her feet. Marcus, reflections in motion. Marcus laced up his running shoes and jogged through the quiet streets, the wind brushing past his face like a whispered affirmation. His grief remained a shadow at the edges of his life, but the motion, photography, cooking, and volunteer work had allowed him to channel his emotions into tangible, meaningful endeavors. At the skate park he paused, adjusting his camera to capture a local child performing a daring trick. The thrill of motion and the beauty of fleeting moments reminded him that life, though fragile, could be celebrated even amid sorrow. Marcus wrapped up his story by whipping up a simple dinner, snapping a photo of his creation like he'd learned and sharing it with friends he'd made along the way. For him, healing wasn't just a goal, it was a vibe, a daily practice that kept him present and empowered. Mara, the silent threshold Mara, sat in her apartment, violin in hand, staring at the bow. Tonight she played a single note hesitant, trembling. The sound echoed faintly through the empty room, and for a fleeting moment the past and present aligned. Yet fear returned quickly, a reminder of all the failed attempts, all the applause that had felt distant and unearned. Her actions, painting, pottery, and exploring other art forms had brought brief respite, but the violin remained both a beacon and a barrier. The chapter leaves Mara on the threshold. She could reclaim her music, but the outcome remained uncertain. Will she find her voice again, or will silence continue to define her? Jamal, the shadow of doubt. Jamal cycled through the library, the crisp air filling his lungs as the city awoke. He had moments of inspiration running, volunteering, and seeking new experiences, but the shadow of self-doubt persisted. One of his students, a young girl with wide eyes and questions, looked at him for guidance, and he felt the weight of responsibility press down. He returned home, opened a journal, and began writing reflections on history, life, and teaching not as lessons, but as explorations. The act of writing gave him clarity, but the tension remained. Could he overcome the voice of inadequacy that haunted him, or would it define his teaching and his sense of self? Sophia. Breath between chaos. Sophia ran across the soccer field, sweat mixing with laughter and shouts of children. Her baking business had gained a small following, and evenings of dance online offered her fleeting freedom. Yet the relentless demands of work, motherhood, and familial expectation left little space for truly claiming herself. She paused, leaning against the fence, breathing in the cool morning air. She could feel the weight of possibility, but also the constraints that continued to press from every direction. The story leaves her suspended between struggle and action. Can she carve a life that is truly hers, or will the demands remain unyielding?